Coming up, March Madness coverage, App State sports, and more, all right here, right now on Sports Bar. Good evening and welcome to Sports Bar. I'm your host Travis Stanley alongside Braxton Critcher. Some big news for App State out of the NCAA Women's Basketball Final Four Awards presentation. Our women's head coach, Angel Eldricken, was honored with the U.S. Basketball Writers Association Pat Summitt Most Courageous Award. This award was given to Eldricken in recognition for her continuous work in the basketball program here at App State while battling cancer. She would travel from Boone to Chapel Hill for chemo treatments during the summer until November of this past year. But through it all, she was still able to attend most practices and attend all 31 games for the Mountaineers.
For more on App State softball, we turn to App State reporters Lee Sanderlin, Sam Moore, and Ashley Smith.
Lee Sanderlin here at Sawasik Lloyd Family Stadium for Appalachian State softball. The Mountaineers, playing a doubleheader against South Carolina Upstate, lost both games today. They lost the first game 12-1, but played a more competitive second game, losing 4-2. Emotions ran high at the second game, with head coach Janice Savage being ejected after arguing with umpires over some questionable calls. Despite the ejections and the losses, the team spirits were still pretty high about their season, having already won more games this year than last season.
You know, I'm proud of my girls because they bounced back for second game and did a great job. You know, I felt like we weren't getting the calls that we needed to, but we also were putting ourselves in that position that we didn't do what we needed to do to put the game away. We had runners in scoring position many times and we didn't hit the ball. So, you know, I don't want to say anything about the officiating other than we got to do our job too.
Yeah, I do think that the officiating or the officials were unfair, but I don't think that should let us affect the game. We didn't get as many hits as them, and that was not the officials' fault. But I think a lot of the calls, like balls and strikes, were a big issue.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think my guys know that I have their back, and that's a situation where, you know, it's not about me. It's about them getting cheated out of an opportunity. For me, the emotions are I want them to know that I care and that I want them to have a great experience. I'm going to be coaching for a long time, so giving them that assurance that, hey, I'm here, and this guy's not doing right by you. The great thing about Natalie is she's okay with reinventing herself. You know, she's willing to make adjustments, she's willing to make changes, and that's what makes her such a great hitter.
So I've worked really hard to get here, and I still work pretty hard, but yeah, I'm really happy with my results, so just trusting the process really helped me out. I honestly think that we're coming together as a team because we do have more freshmen that are playing this year, and all the roles are different from last year, so I think just trusting the process and working hard, we'll get to where we want to go.
The Mountaineers will continue their season this weekend against the University of South Alabama. The Jaguars, a Sun Belt Conference foe, will travel to Boone for a 3-game series. The Mountaineers look to pick up their first win in Sun Belt Conference play this season. From Sawasik Lloyd Family Stadium, I'm Lee Sanderlin with Sports Bar.
Your App State baseball team won last weekend's conference series against Little Rock, taking 2 out of 3 games from the Trojans. In the first game of the series on Friday, Little Rock won 6-2 after App State took a 2-0 lead in the top of the first inning. Starting pitcher Travis Holden shut down the Trojans until the 6th inning when Little Rock scored 6 runs to take a 4-2 lead. The Mountaineers would not be able to score after the first inning, but the Trojans tacked on 2 insurance runs in the top of the 7th inning. Saturday's action between the two schools was an afternoon doubleheader in which the Mountaineers swept a combined 2 runs. In the first game of Saturday's doubleheader, that App State won 3-2, Little Rock would take a 2-1 lead in the bottom half of the 4th inning, but the Mountaineers responded in the 6th when Tyler Stroop drove in Jason Curtis with his 6th home run of the season. The starting pitcher for the Mountaineers, Colin Schmid, threw 6 complete innings, striking out 4 batters, only allowing 1 run. Reed Howell would come in as a relief pitcher and toss 3 scoreless innings in the game, striking out 3 Trojans in the process.
The Mountaineers would again play another close game in Game 2, with both teams taking a lead twice. The Mountaineers would eventually come out on top, winning again 7-6. Matt Vernon went 3 for 5, driving in 2 Mountaineers while scoring 2 of his own. Vernon bats 3rd in the App State lineup, and in the second game of Saturday's doubleheader, the top 4 hitters in the order all drove in at least 1 RBI. The Mountaineers will play a game tomorrow against East Tennessee State before returning home this weekend to play UT Arlington Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Arlington is 14-4 so far this season. That is tops in the Sun Belt Conference. App State has a mark of 4-14 and will try to keep their two-game winning streak alive this weekend. After the break, we'll be talking soccer, March Madness, and more. We'll be right back.
Today is April the 3rd, 2017, but tonight is the conclusion of March Madness. Don't miss the action in the championship game tonight when North Carolina takes on Gonzaga at 9:20 Eastern on CBS. The two #1 seeds are set to play tonight after winning their Final Four matchups by a combined 5 points. The experts in Vegas say that tonight's game will also be a close contest as the Tar Heels are currently favored by 1.5 points. This is the Bulldogs' first ever appearance in the national championship game, while this serves as the second straight year for the Tar Heels. And as Carolina looks for redemption tonight, star player Joel Berry will look to stay on the court. Berry has suffered significant injuries to both of his ankles in the past 2 weeks, and despite saying he will be playing at 80%, he does expect to be in the starting lineup. For Gonzaga, big man Shamik Karnowski suffered an elbow to his eye on Saturday and missed the final 5 minutes of the first half in his team's win over South Carolina. The team says that his eye is fine and that he also expects to play with no minutes restriction. Carolina will be going for their sixth title game victory, and the Zags will look to end a 3-game losing streak for teams playing in their first ever championship game. Since the year 2000, title game newbies are 1-4. One last stat for you about this game. We mentioned that Carolina is 1.5-point favorite. But for teams that are favored by less than 3 points, they are 0-4 in the last 10 years. You can keep up with this action tonight by keeping an eye on our Facebook page and Twitter pages.
App State reporter Jamie Patel has been out in the field and talking to some people from Asheville who are looking to start a new soccer team. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Reporting from Asheville, North Carolina, I'm Jamie Patel. We're here at Highwire Brewing Company for Asheville City SC's official launch party. Asheville City SC is a semi-professional soccer team that will compete in the NPSL, the United States Soccer Federation 4th tier. Fans have gathered here at Highwire Brewing's hilltop location in the Biltmore Village to socialise with each other, as well as collect their season tickets, which come in the form of the club's first home shirt. Ryan Kelly, president of Asheville City SC, explained how the club began.
I was up late one night bored reading an article online about Dennis Crowley, the founder of Foursquare, who did this same thing up in upstate New York. And you know, we're all natives of this area, and we couldn't believe that something like this didn't already exist here. So the more we looked into it and the more we saw teams like Chattanooga nearby that have so much in common with Asheville culturally, demographically, we thought we had to give this thing a shot. So here we are, eight months later.
Mr. Kelly is definitely not the only person excited about the new NPSL team. The supporters are backing their new club long before a ball has even been kicked. Jordan Putnam, a native of Asheville, describes his anticipation for City to begin their season.
It's about time. We're avid soccer players here in Asheville. We got a lot of people. We got about 3,000 adults, 8,000 kids, give or take. It's for this small of a market, but at the same time, it's going to be huge. It's going to be amazing. I'm down with it.
Not only are the majority of Asheville City supporters local to the area, even some of the players, including Ben Chappell, are proud to call Asheville City their hometown team.
You know, it's a big deal because we've never had like anything like this in Asheville before. There's not really been a team that the town can get behind, so we're really excited about that.
The Asheville City roster not only consists of local, North Carolinian, and American players, but also players from abroad that are playing at universities and colleges across the country. Mitch Botfield and Tom Seary of Lenoir-Rhyne University, as well as Jack Miller of Wingate University, provided their thoughts on moving to the United States to play at the collegiate level and now being able to play for one unified club.
NPSL is a great starting point, and you got to be lucky to play in a team like this because it's hard to get into. So for sure, I definitely feel lucky, and I'm proud to be here.
Yeah, I think the way the Americans say a lot of the words are different, but I think I've been here 2 years now, so I'm used to it a little bit. It's been good though.
There's definitely a lot more aggression in Scotland. Like, the tackling's a lot different. Like, we're a lot more aggressive, and I feel like America quite hasn't grasped that yet, and that's why they try and get so many like European kids coming over here to play than the American kids. So that's the main difference for me. The aggression.
Manager Gary Hamill describes how he is going to prepare his group of players to play as one unified team, with just a short amount of preparation time before the upcoming season opener.
Well, it's definitely a little change from coaching college because we're recruiting a lot of different college players, some graduates, but it's very exciting. It's a good level that we have, and they really are good competitive players, so we feel very confident about our level. The difficulty will be getting different styles to play together. I say that, but we do that every year in college, where we bring players from all around the world and mix them. We're kind of doing the same thing. So I think it's just more excitement, and we'll get them on the same page, hopefully pretty soon.
As the coaching staff are already preparing for the upcoming season, Ryan Kelly explains more about how the club plans to renovate their home ground, Memorial Stadium, located on the south slope of downtown, and how people who may not have heard of Asheville City SC can find out more about this newly formed club.
So the city just passed a bond referendum that was voted on by the public in November. So it's slated for a full renovation in the next 3 years. So we're thrilled about that, obviously, and we think the facility now will make it work, and we're glad to grow into the new facility in the near future. Well, we haven't done a whole lot of conventional advertising. As you can see tonight, it's pretty popular. And based on our metrics with other teams on season ticket sales, we think we're pretty close to capacity at Memorial Stadium already. So I mean, we do a lot of social media, a lot of grassroots with the soccer community, but I think we're going to have a full house at Memorial this summer. The best way is our social media. Facebook is kind of our hub. All of our social media handles are at Asheville City SC. Our website is ashevillecitysc.com. We have a contact page. We'd love to hear from you.
Asheville City SC have officially launched as a soccer club here at Highwire Brewing Company, who provided a wonderful host for tonight's event. They kick off their season at Memorial Stadium at home against the Georgia Revolution on Saturday, May 6th at 7:30 p.m. The fans are looking very excited for their first season in the NPSL and will look to get behind Asheville's new sports team. That's all we have here for you tonight. I've been Jamie Patel. Back to you in the studio, Travis.
Now let's throw it over to Jack and Sam to see what they've been keeping up with. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Travis. And before we get the show started today, I'd like to congratulate Sam. Sam, congratulations.
Thank you, Jack.
And now we're going to get started with some baseball news. Baseball is back, ladies and gentlemen. Sam, what are you looking forward to this season?
I'm looking forward to seeing my White Sox win the AL Central for the first time in a long time. I think they got a great young rotation. I think they got a great young roster, and I think we're going to see them dethrone the Indians this year.
So you think that a team that I believe came in last place in the AL Central last year, or next to last place?
Fourth place
in the AL Central is going to overtake the team that made a run all the way to the World Series and finished second in the MLB.
I do. That's just baseball for you. I also think the Giants are going to win it all this year.
You think the Giants are going to win it all?
That's just my prediction.
Even though they lost yesterday.
Sure.
Start off the year on a bad note.
Yeah.
Against the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are looking pretty good.
161 more games.
That's very true, very true. Well, let's talk about some more predictions here for the rest of the season. So you think that your White Sox are going to win the AL Central. Who do you like coming out of the AL as far as
I think you're silly and you're kidding yourself if you don't think it's going to be the Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
I think they have the best defense in the entire league. I think they had the second best rotation in the entire country. They bolstered that with Chris Sale this past offseason, which, as a White Sox fan, was definitely hard to see. But you know what? I wish him the best. He gave us memorable moments, cutting up jerseys, which is, I mean, spectacular.
That's just part of baseball.
Yep. It's a passionate sport. I think we can all agree on that.
I believe Babe Ruth did that a couple times back in his day.
Is anybody for the Reds? Jack's a Reds fan, if you didn't know that. Has anybody for the Reds done that?
I don't believe so. I think we're a little more classy with our jerseys.
Is that
we
right?
tend to take care of our jerseys a little bit more. But yeah, speaking for the Reds now, we're looking at another disappointing season, I believe. Looking to finish at the bottom of the NL Central. I don't see the Reds overtaking the Cubs anytime soon. We do have a good amount of young players.
You got to move Joey Votto.
But I believe that the Reds are looking solid for another sub-500 year. I believe that hopefully within the next couple of years, they might move into even third place in the NL Central. We'll see. We don't know. But we are looking at the Cubs having another strong season, possibly. Not a lot of changes, really. Not a lot of mix-up in their lineup from last year. A couple players retired.
Well, they moved Dexter Fowler out to rival St. Louis, so that was tough. But I still like the Cubs to come out of at least the NL Central.
So you've said that your pretty much your surprise team is the Chicago White Sox. That's who you're going with your surprise team.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and say that my surprise team for this year is going to be the New York Yankees. I think while their rotation might be lacking in some areas, I think they have a lot of good young hitters. I think Gary Sanchez is ready to step up and try and be like the next new guy in New York.
Sure.
And I think that New York could actually make a good run there for the AL East. It might even give the Red Sox a little bit of trouble, but I don't really see that happening. I think the Red Sox are going to be pretty solid this season and have a good chance of making it all the way.
Well, I'm going to have to completely and utterly disagree with you. I think we're looking at the Yankees finishing, in my opinion, I think they're going to finish third. They are still less than when it comes to even the Baltimore Orioles. I think the AL East is going to be a really fun league to watch this year with the Yankees, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Red Sox. I think it's going to be a really interesting. I think it'll be a really interesting season for them, but I don't think the Yankees are quite there yet.
It might be one of the toughest. It might be the toughest division in baseball, or it might be becoming that again, as we see the Orioles and the Blue Jays are both on the rise. And the Yankees last year, a lot of people thought, they almost made a push there at the very end to actually make it into the playoffs.
Right.
So it could be a good thing.
But they didn't have the pitching. They got to have the pitching
first. That's the
first.
biggest thing for them.
And they don't have it right now.
So right now, who would you say your pick to win the World Series would be?
My pick to win the World Series, still the Red Sox.
Still the Red Sox. I'm going to go ahead and say this is risky because no team's really done this in the past couple of years. But I'm going to go ahead and say the Cubbies go back and win back-to-back again and start a new dynasty down in Chicago. And now we're going to move on from baseball to the NCAA. Tonight will be the tournament final between Gonzaga and North Carolina. Sam, who do you have in this one?
Well, are you asking me who I personally want to win or who my bracket has winning?
In your professional opinion, who do you believe will win this game?
In my professional opinion, I think North Carolina's rebounding prowess is ultimately going to take over the game. Gonzaga they're going to put up a fight, but Roy Williams, with the experience he has as a coach and the experience he has on the floor with his players, I think they'll pull away towards the end, and I don't know, 8 or 9 point difference, something like that.
I'm going to have to completely disagree with you on that. I think that Gonzaga has the better big men in this fight. I think that's where the game will be won. Gonzaga has 2 7-footers down low. I don't think Justin Jackson has enough power. I don't think he's a big enough guy to take on those 7-footers.
Oh, but Justin Jackson is definitely the best all-around scorer on the field.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the best scorers on the field. He might be even a player to look at to be one of the best players in this game. But I think that Gonzaga has the advantage on the inside. Also, they've been pretty hot from 3 lately. I think that could really factor in the game and that they could actually, make a big run. I think Gonzaga takes it. It'll be a close game, as these past 2 games have been in the Final Four. Both were close games and were barely won. But I think that Gonzaga might pull it out and finally win one for the Zags.
Well, I'm not here to tell Roy Williams, who is a Hall of Fame coacher, I'm not here to tell him how he needs to win this game. But I think if they can execute their game plan, they can get those big guys in foul trouble early, maybe 2 fouls in the first half. Then they can build a nice lead going into halftime. He can make all the adjustments he needs to continue attacking the basket. Just put your head down, drive in, get a foul, win it at the charity stripe. I think that's what Roy Williams should be looking to do. I think run him off the 3-point line, maybe go into zone. I don't know. That's for him to decide. But I definitely like Carolina. They've got the fire from last year. They really want that championship.
You think so?
I do. I know so. You don't go to the finals and lose it on a buzzer beater only to say, yeah, okay,
Oh, well,
that's fine. I don't think I want this next year.
We'll see. We'll see. Carolina's kind of an interesting team because they don't have the typical one and dones like a Kentucky or even a Duke has. These guys.
Gonzaga doesn't either.
Yeah, these are very interesting now because we don't have 2 one and done teams. We have 2 teams that have guys that have stayed there for 2 or 3 years and have really worked for this. So it'll be very interesting to watch this game. I think this game will be good for college basketball, and we'll see an exciting game hopefully.
Definitely.
We're going to step into our last topic real quick, and we're going to make this real quick. Last night in Orlando, Florida, WrestleMania 33 went on. Sam, what happened was that The Undertaker took on Roman Reigns in the main event. Undertaker was defeated after putting up a big fight. And at the very end, some are saying this is The Undertaker's last match. He went out with a loss. At the very end, he did take off his gear. He took off his long coat, his gloves, his hat, put it in the middle of the ring, and walked out very much like the Dead Man. Sam, how does that affect you? I know you're a big fan of the Dead Man.
It doesn't affect me in the least, actually. I've never watched a wrestling match before. You know, I don't want to cast aspersions, but, you know, I spend my time watching real sports. Sorry.
So where do you think the WWE will go on from here as The Undertaker was such a big superstar, and now he's probably going to retire? Hopefully he retires.
Well, I mean, I think the future is bright. I think they've got the New Day, and, you know, they're a thing, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
Who do you think's the next big wrestler for the WWE? Who will take over The Undertaker's spot? A lot of people are saying it's Roman Reigns. Some people are saying Seth Rollins even has a chance to do it. Who do you think it is?
I like Corporal Payne.
Corporal Payne.
Out of the East. He's kind of a throwback kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, like the...
What's his finisher again? I completely forgot about that.
I think it's called like the corkscrew buzzard or something like that.
I think that's
it. He climbs up on the post and he just like does barrel rolls in the air and lands on you.
Well, that's an interesting take, and we are all out of time this week. So once again, thank you. This is from Jack and Sam's Corner, and back to you, Travis.
That will do it for this week's episode of Sports Bar, but thanks again for joining us. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter for updates on all things sports. For some of the topics that we did not get to tonight, check out our Facebook page for some articles you can read about local sports, professional sports, and more, written by our own student journalist. We will see you next week, same time, same place, for an all-new episode. For Travis Stanley and everyone else behind the scenes, I'm Braxton Critcher.